Welcome back, class 11, for your political science class. So, today I will be continuing from the same chapter, that is Introduction to the Political Science. So, today we will be discussing regarding the meaning of political science. So, you don't be too much of confused regarding like the concepts. So, we will be discussing about traditional as well as modern meaning of political science. So, let's talk about political science. Political science is not a new concept, as I've already said, but it deals with state and government. So in last video I have already explained regarding state and government. So it's simple that you just need to understand that political science is not a new concept, because we have already touched some things before, like in civics. So it's just a larger domain. So political science is not a new concept, but it deals with state and government regarding what? Governance. What kind of governance is there in particular state, and what kind of implementation, like what are the different policies to be implemented, what are the different plans to be implemented in that particular state. It deals with those kind of things, and particularly it deals with the administration. So without these things, that a country or a state is not fully run. So political science always deals with state and government regarding the matters of governance, implementation of policies, plans, and administration means there are so much of branches that we require in a state. So every things has different administrative level, so it requires these three things. So political science deals with governance, implementation, and administration of a particular state or a country. So how government is implementing policies and plans related to political activity. So we will understand more deeply regarding the meaning of political science. So definition. Political science, like there are two definitions, and both definitions are related to political science. So these two definitions are traditional as well as modern definitions, so it's related to political science. So let's talk about traditional, classical, political, or political theory. So don't be confused with these words, okay? It's just a single word, and it has a multiple names, because as gradually the politics developed, like the study of political science developed, different scholars came in and gave a name according to their preferences. So kindly don't be confused regarding this topic. So in traditional, we are going to study of how traditionally came into existence and what was its effect. What came? Political science. How political science came into existence and what was its effects traditionally. So we need to make aware about the fundamental definitions of political science in traditional or classical political science. The thing is that how traditionally it came into existence, we will study about that, how political science came into existence, and moreover the fundamental definitions of political science. So what is it all about? What political science, traditional political science means, like is it related to government, or it is related to political institution? That is a question. So that is the thing that I will be clarifying in this lecture or in an online class. Okay, so let's talk about, this is just like it's a continuation regarding traditional one. Okay, traditional classical political science or a political theory. So in ancient Greece, we are talking about back then in history. Okay, so in ancient Greece, third and fourth century, science of state and government's political institution emerged, like science of state and government's political institution emerged. It means that political science is old as well as new discipline, where it is a science of state. Like in science, what we'll get, yeah, there are so much of experimentations are done, observations are done, there are so many things done, then only a certain thing is like we will get a result in scientific approach. So in the same way, in a state also we meet planning, implementation, observing certain things are there, then only state will run in a smooth manner. So let's look its historical root that date back to ancient Greece. Okay, so during this time we are talking about the time of Plato and Aristotle. So in political science, these two names are like a big, like they are like a star of political science, because Plato and Aristotle are the one who conceptualized the word politics. So traditional, as I said, traditional and classical term is used interchangeably. Don't be confused. That don't be confused like the term traditional is different and classical is different. But is interchangeably. The scholars emerge slowly and they have used and they have given the name according to their preferences. So the state controls and the government is doing welfare for the citizens. So what is the main thing is that the state controls the government, and what the state is doing, the state is doing welfare for the citizen. So it is very simple, like state is there and state controls the government, and what that state will do, it is just doing for the welfare of the welfare means betterment betterment of citizens, so that their standard of living in terms of socially, economically and politically, the standard of living rises from a low level to the high level. So now let's talk about, we talked about the control, right? State controls the government and how the government is controlling the state. So how government is controlling the state is that every now and then in 5 years of term we know about general election. We vote for our representative, and that representative will go on doing certain welfare activities for a citizen. So the election can be direct election as well as indirect election. The direct election is like those elections which we will be doing, like we will be casting vote, going to the polling booth, and we can cast a vote for our like representative. But indirect election is done with in terms of president. President of India is indirectly elected. So in India, like in coming to the topic that political science in India, there is direct election as well as indirect election. So government controls the state by the process of election, and that election can be also of two types, that is direct election as well as indirect election. So traditional political science used to concentrate upon the study of state government, all the political institutions, and like it's not just the state and the government. We are always talking about the state and government, but in addition there are different political institutions, different parties are also there, and it studies in terms of organization, legal power position and interrelationship. So there are certain organization also to be followed in a particular uh, country or certain things. And at that period of time in Greek also there were certain organization, legal power position, like or legal power judiciary is also there, an interrelationship between these organization. So the organization in our country like legislative, executive and judiciaries are there. So the and other organizations are also there, the legal power is held by judiciary, and interrelationship between this legislature, executive, and judiciary. This is how the state controls the government. So now we also talk about, let's talk about center and state relationship also. So this is just a small topic in that traditional political science, but center also has a certain relationship with state, and state too has a certain relationship with the thing. So now let's don't confuse with this one, this is just an extra. Now coming to the main topic. So traditional political science, it uses a philosophical way, like it uses a philosophical way. Number one is philosophy related to life. So philosophy, I guess when you talk with your friends, like you have certain philosophy that you will be following throughout your life. So simple as that, in traditional form of also, it used like a philosophical idea emerged from the lives and the lived life of people. And again, it uses historical legal institutions, like so many institutions are there which have certain rules and regulations, as I have talked about this rules and regulation in previous video also. So this institution will follow certain rules and regulations. Apart from that, other uses is this one, number one is philosophical, number two is historical and institutional uses, and number three is different methods like methods for the study of state and government. So these are the three things that you need to write in your traditional me while you will give the meaning of political science. Number one is philosophical related to life, number two is historical and legal institution that is totally based with the rules and regulations, and third one is approaches and methods of study of the state and government. So now the thing is that how to study the science of state and government, it's related to the same thing, science of state and government, where they implement different strategy to philosophy, as I said, philosophy regarding life. So now let's talk about institutional approaches. What are different institutional approaches? There are legislative, executive, judiciary, and there are various political parties. And more important, the political out here refers to the, it is a government or a public affairs of country. Now the meaning of political, it's not a political party, but what does political mean? Political just refers to the government or a public affairs of a country. Every country has their own government, every country has their own public affairs that has to be done by certain elected representative, which we have representative in the name of election. So now I have completed what is the meaning of traditional one, where tradition always looked about the state and the government, and they used philosophical way of defining. They used institutional methods, like so much like legislative, executive, and judiciary. But in a day, and now we are talking about the modern political theory or modern political definition. Traditional, it's very simple. This one, traditional political science paved the way for new political science, which later got identified as political science, modern political science. So previously there was just a bunch of traditional political thinkers that they thought that only state and government who uses like philosophical way, legal institutional method, and only about like political parties related to public affairs. But certain people just researched it, and new thought process emerged or paved a way for a new political science, which later got identified as modern political science. As the name itself specifies, modern means new, and it can be also called as political analysis. So what was different from traditional political science in this modern political science? It wanted to move beyond between state, government, political institution regarding parliament, where there are Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, upper house or lower house. So in this political science wanted to move beyond state and government, and just like not just political institutions, but it wanted it to go much more. So what it wanted to study, like it wanted to study about the political relations between different countries, and it wanted to study about different political actions done by different political parties for their people, and to study about different political interactions. So if a country has like different political parties, there will be different interactions, and how the target to be fulfilled will be like different one. So these are the things like to study about different political processes wanted in the modern political science wanted to study this kind of things, like it wanted to study different political relations among different countries. It wanted to study about different actions done by different political parties, and if a country has a different political parties, there will be different political interactions among the people. And how this political process is totally related to election, how it is done. It wanted to look into this kind of matter, and it began to study the political interactions through authoritative and binding decisions are made. So political interactions are there, authoritative means administrative sections are there, certain rules and regulations are there to follow, and the binding decisions are made. Mandatory laws that are uniform laws are made, and that are implemented in the society in an administrative work. So whenever you go to certain offices, if we require certain things, that there is certain rules and regulations to be followed, right? So if you want, we need certain documentation, then we need some attestation of certain higher authorities, and we need certain proof, certain kind of things. So that is a uniform law, and that was implemented by the state, or that is an authoritative decision given by the state, and then only it is implemented in an administrative work. So now, like the thing is that in traditional also they use the methods, like philosophy method, like legal institutional methods, certain kinds of things. So in the same way this modern political science also use certain things, scientific, that is an empirical approaches, where there are like observation, results are there, proof are there, you need to prove certain kind of things. So system approach is there, decision making is there, system approach as well, like this is a different approach. Okay, so it's a different domain. So just remember, this modern political science used scientific, empirical approaches, system approaches, and decision making approaches, and structural functioning. So this I will be clearing in a later on video, when this kind of topic will get linked. So I'll clear at that period of time. So what happens in empirical approaches, like in scientific approaches, like it begins with statement of problem, like there is a problem in our society and we need to solve that problem. But before that solving, there are so much of observation are there, experiments are there, and certain section of society says that I will go for the motion or the uh, against the motion. Those kind of debates will be there. So in modern political science also, it is a state of science where we need to solve the questions with different objectives, different methodologies to be used. Yeah, and if a solution uh, comes, then it will be like it will not be coming like just a solution in a blink. So it requires a lot of research. So modern political science also use the method, like scientific method, system approach, decision making, as well as structural form for functioning of different things. It is debated and redebated regarding certain things, that needs to be implemented or that needs to be corrected in a society. So uh, the thing is that the modern political science, this the definition given by more modern political science worked in every country. Like every country said that yes, the particular definition of political science is this one. So modern political science is all related to modern political system. It's very simple. All these are taken into order to take a authority decision and to their actions and plans. So every country in the world has taken this type of approaches in their authoritative decision making as well as actions and their plans. So now, just as an recapitulating the meaning of political science in traditional view. So Aristotle was the first person to present a theory of state, and at that time, it was called polis. It was not called like political science was not called as political science, but before Aristotle was the first person to give a term that is called polis, which means uh, in like in a Greek term, it's a Greek term, and it is used to describing as a city state relationship. So city state relationship at that period of time, Aristotle observed like them it was like 158 Greek city state and presented the theory of organization and function of polis. Polis means how the state used to work in at that period of time. So after a certain period of time, many philosophers began to use the term political philosophy or political thought. So, as I said, after when Aristotle gave the term polis, so many philosophers came up and gave a different names regarding political science, like political philosophy or political thought. Moreoverly, and the last thing is that the tradition in traditional view, it revolves around the state and government. Don't be confused. The traditional one always focus upon the state and the government. Now, what do you mean we are talking about like politics and or political science political. So let me be clear, what is politics? Politics is no, it's like current affairs. That current affairs means whatever happening now in a present situation or problems handled by the government. Every now and then we have different problems arising. So there are so much of problems in now in present scenario also, like COVID-19 is also a greatest problem, and it is a problem how and problems handled by the government of state, like everything is there. So scope of constitutional law, what are the different laws and how the judiciary protects our constitutional rights. So many things are there. So there are parliamentary system, debates are there, legislative procedure are there, legal judicial authority is there. If a politics is talking about peace, if a politics is talking about peace, if that politics is talking about war, treaties, etc., it's all related to politics. So the topic which is out here, which gives a certain idea about state and government, then it is politics. So traditional differences between politics. Okay, politics according to traditional differences, it is concerned to day-to-day actual activities of the government. Traditional differences of politics is that it is day-to-day actual activity of a government, number one. Number two is actual behavior activities takes place in a society. What are the actual behaviors or activities that takes place in a particular society? It's regularly it gives by the traditional notion. And practical activity differ from state to state. Like every politics, the politics is different from every state. So if I am in a Sikkim, the political activities is very much different from the activities down from the south Indian states. So it is very different. So we like we are very much involved in the politics because we cast our vote, we choose our representative, and that representative, if they wins the election, they will form a government and they work for us. So we particular people are very much included, involved in the politics. Now the politician can take part without studying in a political science. So if a politician don't have any political science background, like if he has not graduated or if he didn't had any honors paper in political science, he can be a politician. There is no any qualification for that politicians, that if he has not studied political science, then he will not be, he is not capable of being he is not capable of being as a politician. No, that's not the matter. But the thing is that politician can take part in it means in politics without any studying political science. Now what does this according to modern political view, what the politics says that politics as a science of political relationship and interactions in every society. Yes, we need political interactions, or there is a political relations between different states, and we have interactions with every society. Like we need to talk about our problems and shares, and we'll get the certain tips to solve it. Political relations are defined in all such relations and activities which are characterized by exercise of power to a significant extent. So we have certain higher authorities in administrative section also, that the power is exercised by a certain person or a certain group of people, and it is very significant and it cannot be changed. So uh, from the modern view of politics, political science seeks to understand and explain fundamental principles and origins and powers. So uh, like it's all about the principles regarding the state and the government. So social science which studies about state and government, political science or the political science is a social science which studies about state and government. Kindly don't forget this key word in political science. We need to always carry on our mentality with the key words. So political science meaning, writing about the meaning, you just write the keyword of like state and government. So in modern political science, if a political, we have an academic exercises. Like if we study political science, like you guys are starting to have an academic exercises regarding political science, whether you pass out from class 12 or whether you go for honors paper or opting honors paper regarding political science, this is just an academic exercises. So the principles, wherever we use the principles are very universal in political science, such as that if we are 18 years and above, we will get a chance to vote. So that is universal, and it is throughout the India that we can cast our vote. So so what the modern view also says that if a student or a researcher studies about the political science, then his horizon or his or her horizon will go. So it's not a matter that anybody can learn about political science, but we in modern view says that one need to study, one need to be a researcher, one need to have a social discipline regarding political science. But in this case, the politician takes an active participation. We were very much involved, but the student of political science may not take part in active participation in political science. So this is one of the most important aspect, because we being a student of political science, we need to take an active participation in the matters of politics. Then only we can shape our own future, and we can implement such good policies that will give a good result for our generations to come. So do not accept any differences between politics and political science. So the thing is that modern political viewers do not accept any difference between politics and political science, because it's all as it says that it's all related to the state and government. More importantly, it is an advanced form of studying political science. So Now, what does this political science, politics according to modern means? Politics as a process of struggle for power. So, struggle for power means uh, every now and then, whenever the election comes, the parties struggle for each other to get power. That is the domination one. So, every party gets 5 years of term. So, they want to be in power in a society so that they can improve certain things by implementing different laws, policies, plan, and give and have an authoritative decision for all society. That will be very crucial and beneficial for all. So we are talking about like implementation. So all institutional structures are needed. All institution structures are needed in implementing certain rules and regulation or certain plans. So there will be the institution structures are state, government, legislative, executive, judiciary, police parties are there, which are directly and indirectly involved in power, involved in society. So naturally you just sit back and think that how the political process takes place. So these are every much intertwined in a like web, so it is directly or indirectly involved. So uh, the thing is that I have completed this topic, that is meaning of political science in terms of like the thing is more like traditional as well as modern political thought. So the thing is that you need to write it down in your copy, the whatever the things that we have discussed in the slides. So the thing is like I have completed the one topic from first chapter, that is Introduction to the Political Science. The meaning of political science in the terms of two sections, that is traditional as well as modern, it's complete. So in the next class or in the next online video, I'll be posting regarding scope of political science. So till then, stay safe and take care.